Sometimes in life, you look around and you see that certain people have walked away from you, certain opportunities have slipped through your fingers, certain moments you were so sure were meant for you. But they just didn't happen, and in that moment you think, why, ya Allah, I was ready, I was prepared, I wanted this so badly. You feel rejected, you feel overlooked, you feel like maybe you weren't good enough. But my brothers, remember something: when Allah takes you out of a situation, when He removes certain people from your life, when He blocks you from certain paths, it is not always a punishment. In fact, more often than you realize, it is protection. You see, we only see what is in front of us. We judge by the little details we know. But Allah, who is Al-Alim, the All-Knowing, sees the entire picture, the parts of your life that have not yet unfolded, the people you have not yet met, the challenges you have not yet faced. He knows what would happen if you got exactly what you wanted at that exact moment. And sometimes that outcome would have been your destruction, your heartbreak, or even your distance from Him, so He hides you. He keeps you out of sight. He keeps you away from those situations, not because you are unworthy, but because you are worth protecting. Many times, a man feels his value is in being chosen for a job, chosen for a friendship, chosen for leadership, chosen by the world to be seen and recognized. And when that doesn't happen, the ego feels bruised. But understand this: your value is not in being chosen by people. It's in being chosen by Allah for His guidance, His mercy, His nearness. And sometimes, to give you that nearness, He must first remove the noise. Think about Yusuf, peace be upon him. He was hidden in a well, far away from his family, away from the public eye. At that moment, if you asked anyone, they would say, "Poor Yusuf, look at his condition, abandoned, forgotten." But what they didn't see was that Allah was protecting him from the jealousy and harm that existed around him. Allah was taking him on a path that would elevate him beyond what anyone could imagine. What looked like isolation was actually the beginning of His protection and eventual honor. In our lives, the same pattern repeats. You might be shielded from a friendship that would have led you into sin, from a relationship that would have broken your faith, from an opportunity that would have fed your pride and distanced you from your humility. But because you can't see the future, you feel the pain of what is gone. And in that pain, you might even make the mistake of chasing what Allah has already taken away from you. My brothers, the greatest form of strength is to trust Allah even when you don't understand Him. To stand there with a heart full of confusion and still say, "Ya Allah, I trust you. I know you are saving me from something, even if my eyes can't see it yet." That is the trust of a believer, the trust of a man who understands that this world is a temporary station and that not everything you lose is actually a loss. You might think you missed a blessing when in reality you dodged a bullet. You might think you were denied something great when in reality you were spared something dangerous. And on the day of judgment, when Allah shows you what He protected you from, you will fall into sujood out of gratitude, thinking, "Ya Allah, had I known, I would have thanked you every single day of my life." So when you find yourself in a season of being hidden, when no one seems to see you, when doors seem to close, when your name is not on the list, when your efforts are not recognized, don't rush to be seen. Don't try to force what Allah has kept away. Sometimes invisibility is the shield Allah places around you until you're ready for the battlefield ahead. And remember, if Allah is the one hiding you, then He is also the one who will reveal you. When the time is right, when Allah keeps you away from the spotlight, when He delays the moment you thought you were ready for, it is never because He has forgotten you. It is because He is preparing you. Preparation in the eyes of Allah is not simply about skills, titles, or qualifications. It is about shaping your heart, strengthening your faith, and molding your character so that when the moment arrives, you are able to carry it with dignity, gratitude, and steadfastness. We live in a time where everything is instant fame, instant opportunities, instant results. But Allah works in His own perfect timing, and His timing is always tied to your readiness, not your rush. My brothers, if a fruit is taken from the tree before its time, it will be sour and wasted. If steel is taken out of the fire too soon, it will be weak and brittle. Likewise, if Allah were to expose you to certain positions, certain responsibilities, or certain challenges before you were internally ready, it could crush you rather than raise you. This is why sometimes you feel a strong desire for something. You pray for it, you work towards it, but Allah holds it back. That delay is not denial, it is a divine training ground. The delay teaches you patience. And patience is not simply waiting. Patience is maintaining your trust in Allah while you wait. The delay also teaches you humility. It reminds you that your life is not solely in your control, and that every moment of success must be gifted by Allah. The delay teaches you to rely on Him more than you rely on your own abilities. You see, when a man achieves something too quickly, he may mistakenly believe it was only his hard work that got him there. But when Allah delays it, He reminds you again and again that it is His plan, His will, and His mercy that will deliver it to you. Look at Musa, peace be upon him. He spent years in exile before returning to face Pharaoh. Those years were not wasted. They were a time of growth, of learning humility, of building courage. Imagine if he had confronted Pharaoh without that preparation, perhaps he would not have been ready for the weight of that mission. But Allah's delay was perfect, because the mission required a man who was refined through both hardship and solitude. The same applies to you. When Allah hides you in the background, He might be teaching you the discipline you will need when you are in the forefront. He might be building your ability to handle criticism before you receive attention. He might be giving you the emotional and spiritual maturity to deal with blessings without becoming arrogant and to face challenges without breaking down. And my brothers, these qualities cannot be rushed. They are not developed in a day or a week. They are developed over seasons of quiet preparation. Sometimes you will see others moving ahead faster than you, and you will wonder why you are still waiting. Remember, every soldier has a different training period before he enters the battlefield. If your training is longer, it only means your mission is heavier. And when Allah gives you something after a long wait, He will give it to you in such a way that you will not need to pretend to be ready. You will actually be ready. Do not despise the days of obscurity. They are your foundation. They are where you learn to do the right thing when no one is watching, where you learn to keep your intentions pure when there is no applause, where you learn to seek Allah's pleasure before the pleasure of people. If you skip these days, you may stand on a stage without roots, and the moment the wind blows, you will fall. But if Allah allows your roots to grow deep before you rise, then no storm can uproot you. So if your moment has not yet come, embrace the preparation. Thank Allah for the training, for the shaping, for the unseen protection in every delay. Because when He finally brings you forward, you will not be scrambling to survive, you will be standing firm. Because you have been prepared by the one who knows you better than you know yourself. A man often thinks he is ready for any challenge, that he can walk into any situation and face whatever comes his way. But my brothers, what we see is only what is in front of us. What Allah sees is far beyond the traps we are blind to, the schemes we have not imagined, the dangers hidden behind smiles and opportunities. Sometimes you think you are missing out on a blessing, but in reality, you are being spared from a disaster that would have crushed your faith, harmed your heart, or derailed your purpose. The unseen dangers are far greater than we realize, and when Allah hides you, it is often because He is shielding you from battles you are not meant to fight. You may think you are strong enough to handle certain situations. You might believe that your willpower is unshakable, that your wisdom is enough to navigate the traps of this world. But even the strongest of believers can fall when exposed to the wrong place at the wrong time. This is why Allah, in His mercy, sometimes removes you from environments before you even know the harm they carry. A conversation you never had, a deal you never signed, a journey you never took, all of these could be Allah's way of keeping you away from arrows that would have pierced you deeply. We have to remember that the battlefield of life is not only physical, it is spiritual. The greatest losses are not the ones that take your wealth or your position, but the ones that take your iman. And there are dangers you cannot detect because they come disguised as something beautiful, something tempting, something promising. If you saw them for what they really were, you would run from them. But because they are hidden behind the illusion of good, Allah intervenes and hides you before you ever step near them. Think about how many times in the Quran Allah protected His prophets from unseen dangers. Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was taken out of his people's gatherings before their harm reached him. Musa, peace be upon him, was placed in the river as a child, away from the Pharaoh's soldiers who were killing the boys. These moments didn't look like protection at first. They looked like danger, like loss, like uncertainty. But in reality, they were divine shields being placed between the servant and the threat. In your own life, there may be people you wanted to be close to, but Allah distanced you from them. There may be opportunities you prayed for, but Allah blocked them from you. There may be invitations you longed to accept, but somehow you never made it there. You might have been frustrated at the time, but later, when the truth came out, you realized that Allah saved you from something you could not have seen. And perhaps there are many more occasions you will only learn about on the day of judgment, occasions where you will discover that what you thought was disappointment was actually mercy. A man of true faith learns to be content even when he does not understand. He learns to accept that Allah's knowledge is complete while his own is limited. He learns that being kept away from something is not always a sign of weakness or lack, but often a sign that his Lord values him enough to protect him from harm he cannot see. This is why we are taught to say, Hasbun Allah wa ni'mal wakil, Allah is sufficient for us, and He is the best disposer of affairs, because sometimes the only shield you have against the unseen is the one Allah Himself places for you. Do not mistake every closed door as a mischance. Do not think that every misconnection is a failure. Sometimes it is Allah closing the door to keep you safe in the room you are already in. And when the danger has passed, and you have been strengthened, He may open a better door for you, one that leads to goodness in both this life and the next. So when Allah hides you from a situation, do not fight to pull yourself into it. Trust that there are arrows flying that you cannot see, and that your Lord has simply stepped in front of you to take them away. When Allah places you in a season of being hidden, a time when you are away from the noise and attention of people, it is one of the greatest opportunities to discover who you truly are in front of Him. In those quiet moments, away from recognition, you begin to realize that your worth is not defined by how many people know your name, how many praise you, or how many applaud your efforts. Your worth is defined by the strength of your connection with Allah, by how sincere you are when no one is watching, by the purity of your intentions when there is no audience. The world teaches us to measure our value through visibility. We are told to chase platforms, positions, and popularity as though being seen is the ultimate proof of success. But my brothers, visibility without sincerity is a hollow shell. If the heart is not anchored to Allah, the moment people's praise turns to criticism, you will crumble. But when your faith is rooted in Him, when your identity is built on pleasing Him, it does not matter whether the world sees you or not, you stand firm. It is in solitude that sincerity is tested. When you do good for someone and no one knows, when you wake up for tahajjud and there is no post to share, when you help someone quietly without seeking credit, that is when you learn whether you are doing it for Allah or for the approval of people. And Allah, in His mercy, sometimes keeps you in this hidden stage for longer than you expect, so that your heart can be purified from the desire for fame, from the dependence on validation, from the weakness of needing constant acknowledgement. Even the greatest of men were prepared in solitude. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, spent long nights alone in the cave of Hira before the Quran was revealed to him. Those moments of deep reflection, of isolation from the chaos of society, were not wasted, they were essential. They were building his patience, his clarity, and his connection to Allah, so that when the mission began, his heart was unshakable. In your life, when Allah removes you from the spotlight, it might be because He wants you to hear His voice more clearly, without the noise of public opinion. He may want you to learn that you do not need the approval of anyone except Him. He may want you to rely on His comfort in the night instead of the comfort of people during the day. And this lesson is not just about humility, it is about strength. Because a man whose confidence comes from Allah cannot be broken by rejection, cannot be shaken by gossip, and cannot be bought by praise. Too often, we fear being forgotten by people more than we fear being forgotten by Allah. But my brothers, what use is it to be remembered by the whole world if you are distant from the one who controls your destiny? What use is it to be known in the streets if you are a stranger to the angels? The time Allah hides you is a mercy. It is a space where He invites you to know Him deeply before He introduces you to the world. Do not despise the quiet seasons. They are where your prayers become longer, your reflection becomes deeper, and your understanding of life becomes sharper. They are where you learn to stand in front of Allah with tears in your eyes, knowing that even if no one else notices your struggle, He sees every effort, every sacrifice, every silent act of goodness. And when a man learns to live for the gaze of Allah alone, he becomes free from the chains of trying to please everyone else. So if you find yourself unseen, away from the noise, away from the applause, take it as an invitation from Allah to draw nearer to Him. Because once your heart belongs to Him, it will not matter who else sees you, you will already be standing in the sight of the one whose approval matters most. When Allah decides it is time for you to be seen, no person, no system, no enemy can keep you hidden. The same Lord who kept you in the shadows will bring you into the light, and when He does, it will happen in a way that no one could have planned, no one could have predicted, and no one could have stopped. Until that moment arrives, your task is not to chase the stage, not to fight for recognition, but to remain steadfast, to continue building yourself in private, so that when Allah unveils you, you will stand there ready, not scrambling to catch up. Many times we rush the process. We want to be there now, to have it now, to achieve it now. But my brothers, if Allah were to give you everything you wanted before you were ready to handle it, the very blessing you prayed for could turn into a test that overwhelms you. That is why He hides you first, not to deny you, but to prepare you so that when the moment of emergence comes, you will be able to carry it without it breaking you. When Allah brings you forward, He does it at the perfect time, in the perfect way, for the perfect reasons. Look at Yusuf, peace be upon him. He spent years in prison, years of silence and obscurity, yet when the time came, Allah elevated him in a single moment. One night he was behind bars, the next he was standing in authority, trusted and respected. Who could have arranged that except Allah? And notice when that moment came, Yusuf was ready. He had learned patience, wisdom, humility, and trust in Allah during those hidden years. If that opportunity had come earlier, perhaps he would not have been prepared for it. The same applies to you. The day will come when Allah's plan unfolds, and the position, the opportunity, the platform, or the influence that once seemed distant will suddenly be placed within your reach. And on that day, you will not need to push yourself into it, it will come to you by the will of Allah. People will think it happened overnight, but you will know the years of unseen struggle, the nights of quiet dua, the silent tests that shaped you for that very moment. Sometimes the most dangerous thing for a man is to rise too quickly, because if the roots have not grown deep enough, the tree will topple in the first storm. But when Allah allows you to rise only after your roots are strong, you will stand firm no matter how strong the winds become. The years you spent in obscurity were not wasted, they were strengthening your roots, grounding your faith, and refining your character so that when the world sees you, you will be able to withstand both praise and criticism without losing yourself. And here is the beauty: when Allah elevates you, it will be for reasons that benefit you in this life and the next. It will not be a shallow success that fades quickly, but a purposeful position that allows you to do good, to spread truth, to help others, and to grow closer to Him. This is why you must not envy the rise of others or feel bitterness in your waiting. What Allah has written for you will not pass you by, and what is not meant for you will not reach you, even if the whole world tries to push it towards you. Until that time comes, focus on becoming the kind of man who can carry the weight of what you are asking for. Keep your connection with Allah strong, keep your intentions pure, keep your discipline intact. Do not let impatience drive you into places you are not ready for, because what comes before its time will often leave before its benefit reaches you. And when the moment of your emergence comes, you will realize that every delay, every season of being hidden, every moment you thought you were being left behind was actually part of Allah's plan to prepare you for a rise that no hand could block and no force could undo.